Okay, since I was determined, I wanted to get this first centerpiece cut, and then all of the rest of the design should come off of this. But I needed a perfectly square, and I wanted to square off the size of the 1x4s so that I don't have to trim or anything. Excuse the... Here in the beginning, I had to measure each piece as I went, and I had to measure the small side of every new piece to the big side of the last piece. Here I'm using 1x4 common board, or you can use 1x4 pine, or whatever wood you want to use, on top of 3/4 inch plywood. All right, so for this part, I was really nervous. This is what I've got so far. And I was thinking, like, how the heck am I gonna make this really nice straight line with my wood? Like, that just seems really scary to get right. But what I figured out is that the end that's going over the edge of the table can be jagged and a little bit too long. And then on this line, I made a line where I needed it to go. I can make that perfectly straight by pushing the piece of wood where I need it. And then later I'm gonna come by and cut this all at one time. All right, so this is how it's coming along. I have all of these pieces are attached, except for a couple over there. And then here, I just lined up this, like the new piece up with the old piece, and just went like that, and then kind of just doing the same thing over and over again. But before I attach any of these, I'm going to measure out onto the rest of my wood, because this side should be pretty much exactly the same. So like I have an uncut piece, I can take one of these and go ahead, measure it out, and just measure all of them, cut them all at one time, which would be lovely. And then I will attach everything after that. I'll check a few times, make sure my measurements are going well and that they are the same. But yeah, that's my plan. To get a straight line across the table, I clamped down a 1x4 board with 2 clamps on each end, but I did make a mistake. All right, I'm going to show you real life. You might have noticed I was standing there for a minute. I made a big boo-boo. The circular saw guide started to go under this and I didn't realize it. And I would have to lose a whole nother inch off the side if I cut it back more. So what I think I'm gonna do, dang it. I don't know what I wanna do. I might just continue with the other sides and then figure it out after that. Somehow, before I started this step, I completely forgot to record the step where I did wood filler, sanded a whole bunch, wood filler, sanded, wood filler, back and forth until I just was really happy with how smooth everything was. Once everything was filled in and I was happy, I started with wood conditioner. You want to do wood conditioner before stain to get a nice even coat, and you have to do it when you plan on staining within 30 minutes. Then I moved on to the stain. I am using the color Flagstone. I love this color. It's a nice, warm, neutral color. I also just wanted to get as much done with the top of the table before I started on the legs. So I actually got all the way to sealing the table before I started working on the legs.
You knocked me down, swept my feet off the ground, left me on the floor. Hard to resist, got me looking like this, like no one before. 'Cause I must be strong, 'cause this might go on for long. 'Cause I was wrong, and he's always there for you.
So I'm taking my 2x4s, I found the straightest ones I could find, ripping them down so that they're straight on the edges. And then I'm gonna take two, because the 4x4s there were only a few and they were really take two, wood glue them and nail them together, and then work with them as like a solid piece for all the parts of the. I really say this is a beginner table because I measure as I go. I am not good at having all my measurements laid out before I start a project. I kind of figure it out as I go. I did know that I needed my table to be 30 inches high, so I calculated how thick the top of the table was and then went from there. So this is actually a rough example of how the legs of my table are going to look, but I needed to show you where I did my little angles. Once I had all my 4x4 pieces cut, I laid them out to figure out the desired angle that I liked, and then I marked everything and cut it from there. Here I'm showing you how I was really making sure that I was on the correct side of my vertical piece to my legs, because I'm going to be adding pocket holes and I wanted to make sure that they were going to be on the inside to where you couldn't see them as easily. This is the least expensive Craig jig for pocket holes in the Craig jig brand. And it seems like no matter how many times I use this Craig jig, I need to do a practice round. So I figure out where I need to put my holes and what length I need to put my holes, what length screws I need to get the screw to come through the center of the end of the board and be long enough to grab onto the next board.
This is so unreal. Out of my mind, how could I be so blind? How could I not see? I must have been wrong. 'Cause your love is strong for him. Why would it not be? He's always there for you. I keep living alone.
Again, I measure as I go, so I'm just laying out my finished pieces now that they all have the pocket holes and figuring out exactly where I want my vertical pieces to go. Then I'm going to attach the first side and measure how far from the edge it is and make the other side the exact same.
You know it still hurts a little bit, but not that much. 'Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I've been thinking about you all the time, but that's alright. I'm starting to get used to it, think I'll survive. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the without you, and I couldn't really make you stay, so what to do? I'm just staring at my walls and talking to myself. Now and then I'll try to laugh, but I'll cry a bit as well. I was never any good at being away from you. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the You know it still hurts a little bit, but not that much. Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the
I apologize for the horrible angle. I don't know what I was thinking here. But now that I finished my first leg, I'm taking the pieces to the second leg and just lining them up exactly with the first leg and marking everything so that I don't have to do all the measurements again. All right, so here are the finished legs. But there's also going to be one down the center, a thick piece, and then I'm going to have just 2x4s that I ripped down, one on each side, just to help support the top of the table. But I'm pretty happy.
Put up with changes. Come pick me up, cause I just wanna see the light. I wanna be weightless. Teach me to fly, I won't be coming down. Could somebody wake me up? I don't wanna.
Here I had my tabletop turned upside down and was placing everything out to measure my 2x4s running along the length of the tabletop. I'm gonna add some more pocket holes to those and then attach everything.
Let the world pass me by. Yeah. I just see her face wherever I look. She's standing in the crowd. So let go. I don't want to, but I'm gonna try. When she left me, yeah, let a little bit inside. You know, maybe things are gonna be alright. I just wanna see the light. I'm so sick of waiting.
Here is where I learn when I do DIY. I decided to do some construction screws in the bottom of the legs. They ended up being pretty loose still. On the other side, I still had the opportunity to add some pocket holes, and I did. Once I attached everything and I added 2 little L brackets to all 4 corners, everything ended up being really secure, especially when I added the center 2x4s on the bottom once it's flipped over. But that is what I love about DIY and doing projects and making things, is that I learn something every single time and I get a little bit better every single project.
Getting too restless to be in this dusty town. I've heard of this place where people forget and you get another try. So come open up my door. I don't wanna be here and let the world pass me by. I won't see your face wherever I look. I'm blinded by the light.
Here's a closer look of the 4x4 piece that I put on the bottom, and then I added these other brackets that I wasn't planning on adding, but the table actually swayed just a little bit, so I needed it. I am so happy with the way that this table turned out, and I can't believe I built this thing from scratch. I hope this gives you the motivation to do something and build something of your own, or make something of your own, or even just get out there and do a project. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see the next videos to come.